Professor of Latin American Studies at the City University of New York, Danny Shaw. Great to have you on today. Danny, we've just been listening there to people on the streets in Caracas giving their concerns, really, about what is unfolding and what may yet be happening in their country. Then on the other side, we've got Miss Machado. You know, when it comes to elites, she ticks the boxes, doesn't she? A Yale scholar, her father, a steel magnate. So how does she represent the people, the bread and butter of the Latin American state herself?
I think, Union, the easiest way to understand who Maria Corina Machado is, she's the Venezuelan Navalny. She's the Venezuelan Zelensky. She's the latest puppet, the latest instrument that the United States and Trump are trying to use, not in a war on cartels, but in a war on the Venezuelan people, on a war on a participatory democracy that they have never accepted, precisely because for 27 years, the Bolivarian government of Venezuela has attempted to make sure that the enormous profits from oil go back into the communities in the communes or the comunas. That's why they have artificially hoisted up Machado, given her this Nobel War Prize, I believe it's called, or Nobel Imperialist Aggression Prize. And again, I think the fairest comparison is in the past when they've given that very award to any internal dissent within Russia, Iran, or China, or any other system that they seek to topple.
There are some that will take umbrage with calling her a puppet, Danny, saying that she is simply challenging a political way of life in Venezuela that's dominated proceedings here, and that she has the right to do so.
Well, before, in Trump's first term, they pivoted towards Juan Guaido, and they tried to artificially put him as the president. They used Guaido to justify the theft of $2 billion of Venezuelan gold by the Bank of England. So they'll use any of these individuals who can do their bidding within. They have been drooling over regime change in Caracas for 27 years. The point is that in all the time I've spent in Caracas and across Venezuela, neither a Guaido or a Machado could ever walk through the everyday neighborhoods of the people, because they firmly reject these puppets who do the bidding of Trump and Biden and Obama. Whether it's the Democrats or the Republicans, it's the same hostility to any country in the Western Hemisphere in the world who will not genuflect or bow down before Washington's dictates.
Yeah, you've spent a lot of time there. Give us a sense what role Chavismo ideas play in Venezuela today. Some would call it left-wing populism. Can a politician who operates on the basis of other ideas achieve success there?
I've been to Venezuela almost a dozen times in the past 15 years. I've seen a people who want to fight, who believe in justice, who want to express solidarity to the Palestinian people, to the Russian people, and they see these puppets that Washington puts into power or attempts to as their enemy. If Machado was to take power or anyone else that doesn't have a democratic mandate, it would devolve into similar civil war type conditions, because still the right wing, the oligarchs, have a lot of power within Caracas and across the country. And that's what they're searching for. They want to cash in Chevron, Texaco, and ExxonMobil. They know that Venezuela is a key economic player and political player on the global chessboard.
Yeah, it does beg the question then, why do Western countries seem to choose people who are locally unpopular when helping their allies pursue power?
Because theft is unpopular, pillaging is unpopular, imperialism is unpopular, but they have to do it with a certain camouflage. So they use these individuals, they prop them up artificially, they give them all these prizes like the Nobel Peace Prize, They send them to Yale University in the case of Machado. They send them to the Ivy League institutions. They shower them with praise. They bring them to U.S. Congress. Who could forget just a few years ago, both the Democrats and Republicans across the aisle gave a standing ovation to Juan Guaido as some type of freedom fighter when he's the polar opposite. These are the very individuals that have been used historically by colonialism and neocolonialism to do their bidding within the countries the U.S. can't control.
Do you think some type of invasion or overthrow attempt is imminent?
It appears so. For them to, at this point, have bombed 4 ships, 4 boats off the coast of Venezuela with no justification, with no evidence that they were carrying any drugs or anything. Certainly here on this side in the Bronx, New York, and across the U.S., we're not seeing less fentanyl or less heroin, which has nothing to do with Venezuela. That comes through Pacific trade routes, that comes through the Caribbean, often through Haiti, another country the U.S. and the UN are getting ready to invade. And the point is, Yunin, that we know who the biggest drug trafficker is in the world, and that's the DEA and the CIA and U.S. Congress. Who owns the ports? Who owns the international trade routes? No one, whether they're Colombian or Venezuelan or Mexican, could ever carry all of these tons and tons of drugs if it wasn't for the complicity of the most powerful actor in the world, and that's the U.S. government.
Your time's appreciated as always. Danny Shaw, Professor of Latin American Studies at the City University of New York. Thank you.
Thank you.